very cool to have access, and thank you for inviting us to be part of this. Triple M is presenting the tour, and we're really proud of that, John. And your guys, they give a great guided tour, let me just tell you.
Okay, good.
They're very well mannered. Now, let me jump on that mic a tiny bit, John.
Yeah.
By the looks of the show, this is a huge show. I reckon a rock band knows they've made it when they stop having to carry around their own shit.
Yeah.
You haven't had to carry around your own shit for a little while.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the setup out the front here.
I couldn't fit it in the overhead compartment.
Yeah. You're not doing much heavy lifting these days, John, it's fair to say.
Fair enough. It's true.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of material out there. Tell us about the enormity of the Circle Tour, the logistics involved. I mean, you guys have really bitten off a lot. I know you can chew it, but you've bitten off a hell of a lot out there.
Yeah, it's, you know, the truth is we try to spend money on production. We want people to get something for their money. And so we were willing to fly the U.S. Stadium tour down here because we're asking people to come and see it. And I don't think it takes away from the music. I think it enhances the show because some of these folks are 100 yards away and 2 stories up, and they want to see the band, so there's a lot of video, and yet there's no pyrotechnics or any dancers or tape machines or anything like that. It's just guys beating on instruments. But a lot of the money's spent in video, so the people in the back can see it.
What I found fascinating was you kindly invited us to sound check this afternoon, and you busted out 2 or 3 tracks. And despite the fact you've played together for so long, you still had little things, little issues with harmonies, with Richie and with Dave. I just found that fascinating, that regardless of how long you've been together, there's still those little creative moments where you'll pick each other up on stuff. As a bystander that's not part of the Bon Jovi organisation, I found that fascinating.
Really? Well, I don't think you should, because, I mean, think about, when you get off the air, if you go back and ever listen to the show tape, I'm sure you're critiquing yourself as you go along. So we were watching the New England Patriots yesterday, Monday Night Football. They won 45-3. I mean, that's a rout. The game wasn't over yet. They're on the sideline, still scrutinizing the play. And that's why they won 3 Super Bowls. Because, it doesn't matter that you're playing in the stadium. You want to go out there and make sure that everything sounds good, and I'm still tweaking this and that, and I don't know what the set's going to be tonight. I'll go figure it out now and what I feel like opening with. And every single night has to be the best night you ever did, or it has to be, the last night you're ever going to do it. You have to have that kind of attitude. Or else, you know what, there's a hell of a lot of other tours here you can go see. You know what I mean? So this band goes on time, plays long time, gives people value for their money, because that's what we do.
You're the attention to detail guy, it would be fair to say. I noticed it might have just been this afternoon. You were the guy that was kind of raising the benchmark just in that sound check. Now, I don't know if that's how it normally goes.
Yeah,
or maybe,
sure.
Would you consider yourself the leader of the band in that way?
Of course, in every way. It's absolutely. It's the buck stops here, though. The blame or the credit. I'm happy to share in the credit, but I have to take all the blame. So you're on it.
That's cool, man. And because I noticed Dave, especially, who's been such an integral part of the band. Dave was almost like, oh, here's John asking me to hit this harmony.
He made a mistake. Screw him. I'm playing with the son of a bitch for 30 years. Make a mistake, I'll kill you. And you know what? He's back there flogging himself because he goes, God damn, I made a mistake.
And it was on the new single, which, okay, the new
We've
single.
only played it once.
There you go.
That was the point. We just learned it in Auckland, played it there. That's why we went over it today.
And that song, obviously, All Apologies, part of the greatest hits set.
Right.
Your 8th #1 record was that greatest hits record, and you was talking to me about a year ago on the phone about how that greatest hits album actually should have been your second last release,
right.
But you wanted to write this, you wanted to do The Circle,
right,
because it was an album you really wanted to make, and it was also very successful, so it must have been cool to see them both be so successful.
Yeah, it's very nice. To be making relevant records, #1 records at this phase in your careers, it's incredible, and it's very much appreciated. But The Circle was timely, and it was around the crash of the economic downturn in America and the election of the president, so it had to come out when it did. And these songs, and like No Apology, were meant to be written for greatest hits. You know, they're just nice rock songs that get invited to the party. Whereas When We Were Beautiful and Working Man and Born to Follow, they were socially conscious around an issue, what was happening, especially in America.
Which was cool because that wasn't necessarily an area you had explored lyrically a lot with the band up to that point. So it was just why I think people were kind of surprised in a good way about the record.
Well, good. I'm glad. You know, I mean, there have been, you know, more subtle hints, and Have a Nice Day was certainly meant with as much irony as you can imagine it was, because that was me saying to George Bush, you know, have a nice day, because if you spoke out, you know, it was deemed unpatriotic, and it was unbelievable the animosities between those who believed in him and didn't believe in him. So you had to, you know, express it in certain ways. So with the coming of the Obama administration and then what was happening economically, you felt this jubilation. You know, you were overjoyed for a minute. Now, you know, I'd write a different perspective now, 2 years later. It's a work in progress, but, you know, it certainly isn't the Shangri-La that we hoped for.
Now, John, obviously reaching people is part of your job, and you're not going to think twice if someone notices you at an airport. That's just another day in the office. But there must be a point, and maybe what I'm about to show you is that point, where you go, okay, all right, that's a little bit crazy. I've got something to show you. Now, I'm intrigued by what your reaction will be to this. If you just take this in your stride, I'll be impressed, okay? I found this fan on Twitter. She's one of your fans in the UK, Lucy in the United Kingdom. Her tattoo of your face on her back is interesting, to say the least.
Let me see.
How do you feel when you look at yourself on someone's back?
Well, I wouldn't have done it, but I can one-up you there. I was backstage once with a friend of mine. He was the director of the movie Moonlight and Valentino that I did, first movie, and he brought back his nanny, and she says, I'd like to show you a tattoo. And I thought, okay, you know, maybe she's gonna go like this or something. And she starts to unbutton her drawers, and on her rear end was a picture like that. And she looked at me in the eye and she says, I get to sit on your face every night. I went, wow. Nice to meet you. Get those, you know. I haven't seen the director either since, you know. There's a restraining order against both of them.
No, I mean, look, I don't want to get too blue here. It's a family show. Hypothetically, you know, if you were a single gentleman, if you were in a certain scenario.
Yeah, right. I hear. Okay, no, you needn't say any more. Right. And I'm looking back at it. Yeah.
Would it affect performance issues?
Certainly, yes, absolutely. It's you know, judgment calls here. What can I tell you?
Yeah. Could I just let you know, just friend to friend, that if I was, again, hypothetically, if I was in the situation and saw your picture on her back, I don't think I could.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that though. Thank you.
No,
I really do.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
If that excited you, I might have to really just get out of here even sooner than I do, and I've got to go.
Right. Sorry, I made it awkward. Just ruined the interview. In spite of that last weird bit, John, thank you so much on behalf of Triple M for coming out.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys.